Kia ora Stefano, Markie here. I'm in a beautiful place called Tupare Gardens, which is all free. It's rather lovely. I'll see if I can do a little scan round for you. I'm kind of surrounded by this oak tree, which is kind of nice for me because you don't get many oak trees around here. There's the river. You can't see, but you can kind of get the sense of. You probably hear the water rushing and all the trees and stuff. So it's the oak tree is my favourite tree from back home. So it was nice to be surrounded by an oak. You see the classic oak leaf shape. Lovely. So this is the second video I've shot today, which has been inspired by just what I happen to be wearing. It's not a fashion video. I don't do fashion. But so this t-shirt, which has got a scary big cat on it. I bought this in Greece on holiday for threepence halfpenny, and it's really lasted. Most t-shirts just kind of, with pictures on or whatever, just fade. So it's done really well. So I bought this t-shirt for a reason. In fact, I bought two. One had wolves on it, and the reason was at the time I was doing a nocturnal tour of Dartmoor Zoo. There's a site of Dartmoor Zoo. The house there is haunted, and there's all kinds of all sorts of spooky, weird stuff. There's cryptids and all kinds of things, and I'll be talking a bit more about that in a minute. But alien big cats which is the subject of this video, was definitely a feature there. So the other one was wolves, because there were some wolves there, and we used to take people around the zoo at night with the wolves howling and things like that. We used to tell tales of the haunted house and all the various things. It was really good, actually. It was a really good night's entertainment, actually. And involved you got a meal as well, and on some nights afterwards, after the meal, they bought the kind of, a touchy-feely, I don't know what you call it, but kind of a touchy-feely experience with the, with things like snakes and spiders and stuff like that. So it was really cool. So we were in costume. I was dressed as Judge, because the house was lived in by a very famous character called Judge Treby. And my colleague was dressed as the Dartmoor Devil, and we used to kind of but at the end we used to kind of slip into something a little more casual and talk to the customers and the people that come and talk. So that's when we wear these t-shirts. Okay, so why a t-shirt with a big cat on it? Well, yes, they had big cats at the zoo, including a puma. Now, alien big cats, that's what I want to talk about today. Okay, so it doesn't mean cats from outer space. What they mean is alien, as in alien species, as in a big cat that you don't expect to live in a particular country or a particular habitat, and yet there are lots of sightings of them. And of course, we've heard about the beast of Exmoor, the beast of Bodmin. So I used to live in the West Country, so it wasn't too far away from these things. So big cats that shouldn't be there. And the way a lot of this was presented, in the news and media and stuff like that was, are there big cats at large out there, or aren't there, or is it all imagination? But the actual truth of the matter is there's masses of evidence of big cats having been hunted, trapped. So it's not really as mysterious a kind of thing as people make it out to be. There have been loads of hard evidence. These things have actually been caught. so we know that alien big cats, or so in other words, big cats that shouldn't we wouldn't expect to live in a particular area. So that they have been there. Now, I can't speak for every case, but certainly, where I used to live near Dartmoor, all the locals would say, particularly people that lived right in the middle of the moor, would say that it wasn't unknown for people to see pumas. And actually, I was made aware that the previous owner of the zoo actually lost a number of puma cubs. And if you actually go to Dartmoor Zoo, I don't know if they've still got the puma there. The Dartmoor Zoo, by the way, was featured in a TV series, Ben's Zoo, and it was featured in a Hollywood film, We Bought a Zoo, which was actually kind of reset in America. But it's in Dartmoor Zoo, in Dartmoor, which is in the southwest of the UK, and the puma there used to get visited by a wild, in inverted commas, puma from off the moor. Used to kind of come down, I think, kind of in a kind of a well, hello, gorgeous kind of way. And they actually they found a puma footprint outside of the puma enclosure and took a plaster cast of it. So again, evidence, lots of evidence. So I'm not going to talk too much about the details of alien big cats. It's a subject that comes under cryptozoology. But just really to say that there is enough evidence of big cats that being found in the wild. So it's not a case of, oh, do these things exist, don't they exist? Each case, obviously, you have to decide on your own merits. There is another theory. So there's two theories really as to why these things might be here. For the majority of it, probably, particularly the ones that were caught and trapped, is that I can't remember the year, but there was a year in the UK where they passed I think they called it the Dangerous Animals Act or Dangerous Pets Act, something like that, where they made it much harder for people that had been keeping, pumas and God knows what as pets. They brought in lots of, licensing requirements and lots of, safety, boring old health and safety, because people didn't want, their children to be eaten by, monstrous beasts that weren't being kept properly. And the theory is that people that couldn't afford to do this, or for whatever reason, they couldn't comply with the licensing requirements, would release their beloved wild beasts in a wild place where they might survive and thrive. And certainly pumas, if you look at pumas in the wild and look at the zoology of pumas, they're brilliant at hiding. And they range over really wide areas, so I believe they'll cover like 20 miles in a day quite easily. So the beast of Exmoor could be the same as the beast of Bodmin. It can travel that far quite easily, within a few days. So that's one big theory about where all these things come from. But there's an interesting thing. If you go back and if you look at folklore, lots of stories of weird black dogs. Sometimes black shuck is one of the names that it's given, and they're sometimes believed to be kind of spectral, or not necessarily a physical creature, but strange black hounds. And I bumped into somebody in a very interesting conversation. Is saying were they misidentified big black cats, and have we always had? Because often these things are black, they seem to be black. Have we always had these things in the country? And are they just a wild creature that's not properly been identified? So that's another interesting one. And then there are other theories which I won't get into in this video, but I have an overarching. It's not actually, I say a theory. I was going to say my theory. It's not really my theory. I kind of nicked it from Nick Redfern, really, but I kind of there is let's say an overarching theory of all monsters, all strange sightings of strange things. That there is one theory that can explain all of them, and essentially that they would all have the same kind of cause and the same origin. So, but we won't get into that. I'm going to save that. I'll share that in another video. So were these kind of spectral or otherwise black dogs actually large black cats? Have we always had large black cats? I mean, certainly like in the UK, because I'm coming here very much, even though I'm filming this in New Zealand, I'm coming from a UK perspective, and I'm sitting under an oak tree. I'm coming from a UK perspective, really, here. Although these things are all over the world. And there's an interesting in New Zealand, actually. There's evidence to suggest that there was a creature that was very much like a cat, like a big cat, a predator, but it was actually a marsupial. But it moved like a cat and had massively kind of feline features. And there are, I believe there are sightings of big cats, I think, in the South Island. I don't know. I'll just check up on that one a bit more. If you know about this, please post us some more information in the comments. So again, these videos that I tend to do, sometimes if it's a subject that's to do with my career or my profession, I can go into kind of great depth and detail. And other subjects I'm kind of just giving a kind of an introduction to. So they're not designed to be, academic in-depth videos. This is one of the ones that's not designed to be an academic in-depth video. It's designed to kind of just be an introduction to the subject, really, and to take away some of the myths. That's all we kind of try and do here. So yeah, interesting. And of course, we know in the UK we did have things like links, and and in Europe, they have links, and parts of Europe. So maybe it's something that's been around all along. Maybe some of these things are ones that were released, and we know certainly that some puma cubs were released from the zoo, and there've been various sightings on Dartmoor, but the press still say, are there wild big cats out there, or is it all made up? So they are definitely out there. I hate the phrase "the truth is out there," because I think it's kind of meaningless, but the big cats are out there. and there's loads of hard evidence of this, so please don't buy into the was there, could it be, is it made up, is it a hoax, is it this? Of course all these things come into it, hoaxes come into it, but if you look at pumas, the question is, why haven't they been seen, why don't we see them all the time? They are great, that in their natural habitat they're elusive, they're brilliant at being elusive, that's what they're good at, and they probably feed a lot on rabbits, which means that the farmers don't particularly notice sheep, though that has been one of the things. The Beast of Exmoor was a big missing sheep thing, or killed sheep thing, but a lot of them probably prey on rabbits, so that the farmers aren't even too worried. So ABCs, alien big cats, or anomalous big cats, part of cryptozoology, and they have been out there. They are out there. We don't know exactly what is, but we know there's certainly been puma population in Dartmoor, and maybe there's an older thing going on, and maybe it's something also a little more mystical. One of the things I like to talk about is how things are overdetermined, which means that if you look at a phenomenon, people always want to ascribe one cause or attribute one cause to the phenomenon, whereas that's actually very rare, that for one cause. Often it's several, a single phenomenon will have several causes, and actually not just be one thing. It will be ghosts is another one that I want to talk about in a bit more depth, because I think there are half a dozen to a dozen different explanations as to what a ghost might be, or what might cause that phenomenon. But people always tend to kind of just jump to one conclusion about all of this kind of stuff. So I think, if you look at these three theories, the kind of the spectral, the ancient, the released animals due to legislation, I think they could all be true, and we could be seeing at least three different kinds of alien big cat. So I hope you found that interesting. Like I say, it's an introduction, loads of information on this subject. If you want to go into it more deeply, ring your Markie. Wow.